Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Will Marn. I'm a veteran of the U.S. Army Special Forces, recently transitioned a few years ago. I'm a graduate of Bancroft Capital's Veteran Training Program. Welcome to this quarter's Patriot Lunch. We are featuring Deanna Czarnecki. She's a U.S. Army Command Sergeant Major in the Adjutant General Corps. Welcome, Deanna.
Thank you very much, Will. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. Thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to this dialogue with you, to get to know you, and for the audience and our friends in corporate America and across the country to get to know you and hear your stories and your path, your success, and kind of where you're going for the next season of your life.
Yes.
For the crowd, I put together this event, this Patriot Lunch, because I wanted to showcase one high-performing veteran to corporate America. I found that those odds were completely flipped when I was getting out. I was 1,000 of us and just like one or two corporations that we could get in front of. And I wanted to break down these barriers. I wanted to give the corporate America and our friends out there the opportunity to learn about a high-performing veteran, to get an understanding of the unique skill sets, experience, and leadership that he or she will bring for their next season of life, hopefully in corporate America somewhere in this great country of ours. I'd like to say that transitioning from the military is very hard, and it's very important to build a network, and that's really what this is about, is building that network. So I'll connect you with Deanna after this, and we win when those relationships are made. When you just have a virtual cup of coffee for half an hour, you get to hear her one-on-one stories, and she can learn about your role and company and understand where she's going to fit in and where she's going to take her next season of life. So I'm very excited to hear about the next company that picks her up, because she's quite a leader with an awesome skill set and a set of experiences that's going to provide substantial leadership and quality to whichever company pulls her in. So we're going to have time at the end of this to dialogue. And so raise your text hand or your text me or your Zoom hand, and we'll get you in the queue. I'd like to give you, most of you understand, Bancroft Capital's special mission. There, we do have some fresh faces on this Zoom call. So, Bancroft Capital's special mission is, we are a service-disabled, veteran-owned small business that operates as an institutional broker-dealer and a small investment bank. We have a best-in-class veteran training program, and we accomplish our mission, which is to train and empower transitioning veterans to succeed in the financial services industry. We accomplish our mission through the proceeds of the business. The core lines of business are cash management, public finance, fixed income, debt and equity capital markets, a secondary trading desk, and investment banking. So please remember Bancroft Capital should you ever need any of these services. And with that, we are pleased to welcome Deanna Czarnecki. Deanna has over 27 years in the U.S. Army as an Adjutant General Corps. She has had several positions, and AG, Adjutant General Corps, for the audience, essentially means human resources. She's had it at the battalion, brigade, division levels, including a deployment to Afghanistan, and she's got incredibly diverse experiences that she's going to share with us today. Deanna holds a Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration, Master's of Arts. I could go on and on and on, awards and everything. But we're going to pause there. I'm going to take a breath. I'd love to hear from Deanna. Give us a personal introduction.
Good morning, everyone. First, huge thank you to you, Will, and to Bancroft to even open up this opportunity for me. Thank you to everybody who's signed in and joining from afar to listen to me talk for a little bit and share my experience and my Army journey. I joined about 3 weeks after my 17th birthday, the ripe old age of 17. And never in a million years did I think I would be where I am today and have had all these just incredible opportunities through the Army, really in learning how to lead people and how to manage situations, from small, minute situations to extremely complex problem-solving situations at the Department of the Army level. And it has been an amazing opportunity, amazing journey. And while this chapter is about to close, I'm very excited for the next chapter and to see what awaits. Thank you.
Wonderful, Deanna. Yep, thank you. You've had quite a career. 17 years old when you signed. That sounds like you might have had a plan.
Perhaps it was a very rough plan, definitely.
Yeah,
I knew I wanted to follow some history in my family and to join the military. Just didn't know exactly where it would lead.
yeah, yeah, right on. Thank you for that. Sounds like maybe what you thought when you signed didn't quite, when you signed at 17, you didn't think that, 27, 30 years later, here you are.
Exactly.
That's really special. And thank you. I'm gonna say this a few times, but yeah, I'm allowed to say thank you for your service now. Now that I have that blue ID card.
Right, right.
Thank you. But so tell us about Adjutant General Corps, HR. We all know what HR is in the world, but the nuances there, and how you rose through ranks. Kind of give us a more deeper overview of that, please.
Sure. So Adjutant General Corps it was generated back in the first days of the Army. So that right there tells you the importance of having the Adjutant General Corps. And really, it just revolves around the people. And people are our greatest resource. As the previous Chief of Staff of the Army made it the #1 priority, was people. And Adjutant General Corps, same as HR, just has a whole gamut of areas that we have to be professionals in. And it can be simple things like making sure you have life insurance paperwork filled out, to preparing personnel for deployment and all the aspects of being administratively ready for deployment. Powers of attorney, the kids are set up for their schools. Everything is laid out. You have to have a family care plan. Who will care for your children if you deploy? Promotions and financial implications through all of this. So it's a wide array, and just making sure that our units are staffed accurately so that they are ready to deploy, and they're staffed with the right talent. And so it just has so many different aspects of it. And Horatio Gates, back in 1775, was the first adjutant general to General George Washington. And so that starts this long history of our Corps, which I'm very proud to be a part of. When I first started, however, I was AG Corps, Adjutant General Corps, but I enlisted as a clerk typist. I had typing school, and so I learned to type on a typewriter, and that's kind of where my journey began, just typing up forms and working as an administrative clerk, essentially, in an office. Well, over time, they got rid of that job in the Army, and we all had to transition to being HR professionals. And so they developed a training package for everybody to go through. And when I was about a mid-grade NCO is when I did that transition. And that really expanded my knowledge and my love of the job and what I did for the Army, because I really got to take care of people. And before the Chief of Staff of the Army's priority was discussed about people being #1, it was really my own priority. Just ensuring that our most valuable resource within the unit was set, that they were ready and they were prepared to accomplish whatever mission was put before them. So throughout the years, I've always been HR, Adjutant General Corps, and I love it. And as I say from one of my previous bosses, she would always say, all roads lead to HR. And I sincerely believe that, and I rely on that. And I just knowing that and ensuring other people understand that we in HR are there to help and to set them up for success. That's number one.
That's wonderful. Yeah, the all roads lead to HR. I just wrote that note down. That means you're
Yeah.
used to being in the middle of things.
The middle of everything. Yes,
Yeah,
indeed.
yeah.
From family support to, training to getting their records, administrative records complete. And it's just
Mhm,
everything because if people aren't prepared, they can't focus on their job.
mhm, mhm. And the war for talent is real and it's constant. We see that in the military
Yeah.
now. Every firm is constantly seeking that top quality talent. HR is on the front
Yes,
line of that, from recruiting to onboarding to keeping the employees engaged and on the promotion pathway and training and everything. So it's really interesting
absolutely.
to hear and have you on um, and hear your insights on this. So part of your journey where you are currently, Deanna, is you're the commandant of an academy. You help certify and stand up
Hmm.
an academy there in Wisconsin. And as that, you've got classes coming through, I'm sure. You've got a lot of opportunity to make impacts on people. Can you tell us
Hmm.
about a particular impactful story on the soldiers that are coming through your academy?
Absolutely. There's several. Just the students day in and day out. I like to be involved and I like to be present and getting the feedback that they feel the commandant cares about what happens in her academy. That's really important. But beyond just the students is all the staff that I have. And I love the staff. They work really hard. They work really long hours preparing our young students and training them. And there's one soldier in particular that really had quite a journey herself. And she was struggling. Some of her peers tried to help her out. They felt that she had an alcohol problem. And it came to a head one night, and I got a phone call in the middle of the night to come pick my soldier up because she had been arrested for DUI. And the disappointment was definitely there. But this was my opportunity to really impact the soldier and let her know the value to the Army and to the unit. And so over the next couple of days, we found out this was, in fact, her third DUI, and just two within the last couple of years. So her leadership had tried to get her help, kind of under the table and just try to take care of her, but it wasn't enough, and she really struggled. And so after that evening, we had a 2 to 3, for lack of a better term, interventions, really, and called her in my office, and we explained the importance of her going to an inpatient program. And the Army is really supportive and they have amazing resources, but the leadership of that individual soldier has to be supportive as well. And so we really pushed for her to go through an inpatient program and give her all the time and resources that she needed. And that was, we're approaching 11 months now, and she's 11 months sober and just completely has done a 180. And we
Mhm.
recently had some training in the unit about substance abuse. And for the first time, she spoke up and told her individual story wide open to everybody else in the academy and just really complimented the Army programs as well as the leadership that really boosted her into getting the help that she needed. And she's just doing fantastic. And that's probably my greatest success story.
Wonderful. The immediate impact that you had, the leadership and clarity of thought to funnel and direct resources, the
Hmm.
follow through to get to make sure that this person is taken care of. Ultimately, understanding that the value that each soldier or employee would bring to an organization. There's always going to be something going
Yeah.
on in background. And to our corporate friends on the call, you know, the military is very unique in that they have like their own kind of it's not to replace the civil law, the legal structure that's in the your state and country, but it's to provide an additional to that. That's the Uniform Code of Military Justice, and that like bringing that in and not the law, but the resources to take care of somebody who otherwise in corporate America, DUI, like police are going to handle
It's
that
on your own. Yep.
Oh yeah, that's not the case in the military. It's a unit situation that they all have to deal with, and you're on the front lines of that, and it sounds like a successful resolution. So congratulations.
Yeah, it is a great story. So thank you.
So impacts on lives. You have you're demonstrating that. There's that's a success. There's some difficult stories in there. We've all faced them. The military has unique challenges, and it presents unique experiences and opportunities to grow and to learn and in those challenging situations. Can you talk us through some of those?
Yes. Well, probably when I first started my active duty time back in 2003, almost 20 years ago now. We didn't have the social media or the social network, but I was going from my home area where I had all the support I needed. I had my own personal network. My family was there, I had brothers, my parents, friends. And then I decided to go what we call AGR, and that's the active duty side of the reserve. And now I'm moving to another state as a single parent going through divorce, and I have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. I'm moving to a place that I have zero network. I don't know what I'm doing. It's my first time on active duty, truly. And I don't have a daycare. I don't have a home. I don't have friends. My car breaks down. My dad used to help me out. I don't have that resource. So that was really scary. And my brother even brought it up to my mom that he was nervous about me leaving and didn't know if that was the right answer. But I knew I needed a change and I needed a boost for myself. I had to get myself situated and develop a life for my daughters and I. And so that was really scary and it was challenging, but to me, it's all about the mindset. And I was determined. I was determined to be successful, to make it happen. And I think with the right attitude, you can overcome pretty much any situation. And that was probably a critical point when I knew just how important it was to develop a network immediately and to reach out and be able to build trust with others so that you can rely on others and they can rely on you. And that was scary, but that was the beginning of many more challenging times, but I think it set the tone. I developed a skill set that allowed me to be flexible and adaptive and overcome just about anything.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. The determination to succeed, having the right attitude to overcome those challenges. I mean, gotta raise your hands out there, people, but how many have you been a young single mom with 2 kids, probably still in diapers? I don't know, your 3rd-year-old might be,
one of them was
without a home, new unit, no friends. Man, that scares me. And I'm sure it was really challenging, but well done and congrats on persevering.
Thank you.
That's real courage. You got a lot of styles of courage out there, and this type of courage is just to roll up your sleeves and make it happen. That's you have those episodes in your lives out there, everybody, and when you see those and you can kind of package that up and be like, hey, that is a great example of a courageous moment in my life. And so well done with that. Obviously it kept you going on a really successful path. So we're going to move to situations and talk us through some of your your time in Afghanistan, as an HR professional in a combat theater. And this is something that the world doesn't understand.
Mhm.
You have to be ready for casualties, for training,
Mhm.
promotions, finance, life insurance, all the normal administrative stuff that you do for people. For the number one priority is our resources as people, but casualties, like uh,
Right.
most people don't think about that process and how hard that is. But then you have to still have that same determination, fortitude, perseverance, clarity of thought to get through that. Talk us through some of those things.
Sure. So while in Afghanistan, I was in charge of a section. Me and an officer work hand in hand. And we had a section of just 13 individuals, but we managed at a brigade level, which was commanded by a general officer for an engineer unit. That engineer unit, we had several battalions under us and engineer battalions, and they did what's called route clearance packages. And so they would go out in a convoy and clear mines from the roads and routes and make sure that mines and IEDs were not prevalent, continually allowing for easy passage of other vehicles and convoys for resupply, things of that nature. So being in theater, it's like it's very high energy, fast paced. You get a little bit of downtime, but then something happens and it ramps right up again. So aside from doing all the basic training requirements and making sure that my soldiers underneath me have what they need, we're also ensuring that our battalions are taken care of. And again, because it is so high energy and fast paced, we had a liaison soldier who was in the operations center. And that operations center is the one who managed all those route clearance packages. So if there was troops in contact, a situation that occurred, they hit a mine or something went off, she was there immediately to notify our office because that triggers a series of events. Anytime that there's a casualty, we have to write up the situation within another system. And that system ties back to the United States casualty office at a command here, immediately notifying that there's been an incident. And then they have protocols that take place. So we have to provide their, uh, it's a form that shows all their emergency contacts. So we have to provide that. And if it's anything more significant, their life insurance. So if it's a KIA, we have to make sure that all their records are immediately provided and that they're accurate. Do we have anything more recent? Which again feeds into our importance of peacetime record keeping for soldiers. So as soon as an incident may take place, we don't have time to think emotionally. Everything just has to come right off the bat. And we have to compartmentalize our emotions. If it's somebody we know, it can be pretty traumatic, but we can't let that deter us from the job that has to happen. And so now it's a question of, do we need reinforcements? Do we have to take that individual out of the fight and request new replacement individuals? That's all part of strength management at the strategic level. Do we have enough personnel to accomplish the mission? And when somebody gets taken out of the fight, we immediately have to start buffing that unit up again and making sure that they're ready for the next mission, which may be tomorrow. So it's a chess game as far as managing the people, but you can't be so far emotionally removed that you forget the personal aspect of things, and there is emotion. So once all of that excitement, if you will, kind of comes down, now it's a matter as somebody in charge, how are my soldiers responding? Was it because that's a lot of mental strain, and I have to make sure that they're mentally resilient and able
Mm.
to make it through the next one that happens. Um, and then sad to say, but then we also start awards, combat action badges. We've got to gather up the data for that and submit that for approval. And then it seems weird to say that somebody gets an award for being in combat and coming into contact with troops. It's just this weird dichotomy of happiness and sadness at the same time, and how do we just work through day by day, and it's constant. We may get a knock at the door at 2 in the morning because we've had troops in contact, and now we've got to get up and start the process all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Continual
24/7, right?
24/7. Yes,
Sometimes
definitely.
48/7 for those, or
It,
48 hours a day. Sometimes I call
it feels like it. And it
Yeah.
doesn't just end there, because then there's ramp side ceremonies and memorials that we coordinate with units. And so it's a continual back and forth of being able to show some emotion, but then having to work right away and compartmentalize that part.
Hmm.
And so then when you come back from theater and you're working peacetime stuff again, it feels a little strange to get back to what you call normal lifestyle reality.
Yeah, sure. And so when you're forward deployed at a combat theater and you're dealing with the casualty notifications and you're activating, the rear network, you're doing
Mhm.
your there at your base, you're having your services, your ceremony, your kind of memorial ceremonies, but there's no funerals because you're
No,
there. Funerals are
right.
going back home, so you're still managing the rear detachment, the detachment of folks that
Hmm.
are working for you back at home, who are working with the families, getting notified
Yes.
their soldier, spouse, dad, whatever, wife, husband, mother, got injured or killed. And
Hmm.
and that rear D notification is 24/7 as well.
It
And
is. And if we don't have that support in the rear, back in the States, it it can get messy. And then the ones who suffer from that are the families. So again, I go back to the people first concept, ensuring that everything is covered, because at the end of the day, those families need our support just as much.
mm-hmm. And I'm sure you know this, but as just a quick story, the wife of Hal Moore, Mrs.
Hmm.
Moore, he was the battalion commander of 1st Battalion, 7th Cavalry in Vietnam in the book, or the Battle of the Ia Drang in November 1965. She was dealing with notifications, the casualty
Yes.
notification process that was non-existent before that. That was the first big battle of the war, so they didn't really have a lot of casualty. Before, it was a telegram, right, from World War II or Korea, but you get into
Yep.
Vietnam, and she's like, no, we're not having that. And so she helped create that and build that out. And I know you're very familiar with her legacy and processes, how that all developed after that.
Yes. We've come a
Yeah.
long way, and it was necessary.
We
Definitely.
have, yeah, sure. And even in that movie, you can see like the emotions on both sides, forward, right,
Yeah.
rear, lack of information, the strength to deal with that. Really, really amazing.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
Hmm. So let's transition to more kind of talking through some of the qualities that veterans bring. And most people know that veterans raise their this hand. Looks like that hand, but it's actually
Yeah.
your other left. uh,
Right.
Raise your right hand and swear to swear your oath. um, and that's normal and natural, and people know that. Some of the
Hmm.
qualities that veterans bring: goal-oriented, perseverance. We talked a little bit about that. Communication, leadership, poise, strength and character, of course, that you've displayed and have explained. And goal-oriented. You have to have a goal to get through all this. Your goal is to
Hmm.
get through Afghanistan. Boom. You're a single mom. My goal is to go get a house.
Yes.
I need, and it's a little bit like, Maslow's hierarchy almost. But what's the goal oriented? You've had dreams, you've accomplished goals in the military.
Yeah.
Talk us through, give us an example.
So early on in my career, when I was straight reserve, weekend warrior type, I really wanted to go to airborne school, but the reserve component doesn't support that as much because we don't have a lot of airborne operations. So they have a few, what we call quotas, a few seats to send soldiers to schools. And finally, later in my career, I'm about 2 months shy of turning 40, and I'm a sergeant major already, and I had an opportunity. And mind you, for those who don't know, most people go to airborne school when they're anywhere from 18 to maybe 25 years old. 40, not so much. You don't heal as well when you are 40 years old. You're not quite as physically resilient, but I was determined and I finally had an opportunity. And so I went to go qualify to even be allowed in the school. You have to meet certain physical requirements at the 17, 18-year-old scale of physical fitness. I'm proud to say I ran faster than most of them, did more push-ups and sit-ups than most of them. So I was able to go and made it through day one, where half of them even got expelled out of the school. And it was really, I had always wanted my jump wings, and it was really a great opportunity, not just to get the wings, but now as a seasoned NCO, as a seasoned soldier, I had opportunity to mingle with soldiers that are just coming in the military, just starting out their career. And that was so much fun to me, probably the best 3 weeks that I had in a long time, because all these young minds, some of them younger than my own daughters, and just sharing my experiences and advice. And, they had questions, just a whole array of things. So it was fun to share with other students that were there, but then even the instructors who were mid-grade NCOs at that time, they would come to me and ask for advice and ask questions. And I really, I really thoroughly enjoyed that opportunity, that I could share my experience and my foresight with some of these other individuals. I was a little beat up after those 3 weeks. My last jump, I sprained my ankle, kept my boot tied up, and I only had one more day of running in boots. It worked. And went home and got it checked out after that. So it was good.
Yeah, there's a lot of
It was
Motrin.
good. A lot of Motrin, yes. But it,
So
it
I
was a
don't know if
one.
it's like psychosomatic or what, but man, you mentioned all that and my neck started hurting.
Yeah, you get a little beat up. I'm dragged through water because I can't unclip my parachute, and just it was a fun opportunity though. I would not
Man,
change it for the world.
and yeah, and you mentioned it, like you outrank that entire program.
Everybody, everybody.
That must have been a lot
Yes.
of fun, minus the
It,
pain. It must have been a lot of
it,
fun.
yes, it was. I got up a little bit slower out of the gravel pits than most of the kids did, and my instructor a couple times, "Sergeant Major, are you okay?" Yep, I'm good. Let me get up, move, shake that off a little bit. But it
Yeah,
was it
no,
was
and it's
great.
when you're 18 and jumping out of airplanes is a whole lot different when you're almost 40 and
Yeah,
you're wiser and you know the consequences of landing.
right.
Um, for the audience, this is what they always say, right? Like, it's not the landing that hurts you, it's the bounce. So
Right. Yeah.
which is just a way of
Yes.
saying it all hurts.
The whole thing. Yes.
So I can't imagine now, as you're, the commandant of NCO Academy, you're transitioning command sergeant major, that you have a lot of free time. So talk, like, what do you do for your
Busy.
free time, Deanna?
Well, it's a good thing I do like to stay busy. But my free time and my rejuvenation comes from motorcycle riding and helping other veterans. So I belong to a Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association, and it focuses on vets helping vets. That's our motto. So it's a international, actually, organization. So we have chapters in Korea and Europe, all over the place. but we raise hundreds of thousands of dollars as a whole. But what I am probably most proud of in that aspect is when I was part of a new chapter we stood up in Kentucky near Louisville, and we partnered with the Louisville VA. They have a program that gets homeless veterans off the street and into a new apartment. But it's all great. They have a place to sleep, but they don't have any of the basics like plates, utensils, cooking ware, sheets, cleaning supplies. And so the VA had an opportunity to donate what they called transition kits. And we started to operate in that space to help out with these transition kits. But I had an extra motorcycle that I donated to the chapter, and we had some people kind of beef it up, and we raffled it off, raising over $14,000 based off of that, where we could put together new items, not just donated old used items, but we bought new items to help these homeless veterans get a decent head start in their new apartments. And that was probably the best. And that chapter, because of that, when we started up and had that base of money, they're going strong, and they continue to do the great work down there in Louisville.
That's wonderful. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the feel good factor, the give back factor, connected with your hobby and your passion. Is really there. So do you believe in e-bikes? Are you a fan? What's going on?
No, I do not. I do not ride an e-bike. I have a real motorcycle. No, I e-bikes, that's for other people. I have a 850-pound bike that I like to cruise around the States in and go for some long trips. That e-bike would not work.
No, that's wonderful. I rode down a bike week once from where was I at? Maybe like Philadelphia down to Florida.
Nice.
About 7 or 8 of us. It was great.
Yes.
Had the gold wing in front of us because he had the speakers, and we were just kind of like
so everybody could hear.
Echelon off of him, right?
Perfect.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So listen, we have perfectly 5 minutes left in our time hack here. If there's anybody in the audience who has questions, pop up on the speaker or text it to me, and I will get it in. There's a couple that are pulling in here, but I'll pause for about 15, maybe 10 seconds. Deanna and I have, we've prepared a couple. We'll do rapid fire here. We're talking like one sentence. This will be fun.
Sounds good.
Okay. No. All right. None there. How do you distill your priorities into 3 or 4 words?
So I have an acronym because everyone in the Army military loves acronyms, and it's LIFE. And LIFE stands for legacy, intellect, follow through and follow up, and excel. And so leave your legacy. That's what I tell everybody. No matter where you go, you leave your legacy. And intellect, never stop learning. Be a lifelong learner. Follow through and follow up. It's important to gain that trust with whomever you're dealing with, and follow through and follow up does that, not just for others, but even for yourself. And excel. Never settle for just good enough. Excel at everything.
Wonderful. All right. Raquel. Okay. We'll get to that. Let's do this in a sec here. How do you lead, coach, mentor people to get the best out of them? You're a senior leader. You've seen a lot. You've dealt with a lot of people. Lead, coach, mentor. Tips.
The first thing is getting to know your people. Know what motivates every individual, because nobody is the same and everybody has value. So if you know the individual on their level, that's how you can best affect that individual. And you coach them into what their goals are. But with that, now you've developed that trust, and they get to know you, and as a leader, what your long-term goals are for company or for the organization. And by doing that, everybody, Bob Boylan, I believe, is the writer of the book, but everybody is in the boat rowing in the same direction. And with that, you can accomplish anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Tell me how, let's go to, oh, these are fun ones here. How are you approaching your transition into the corporate civilian world? That's fun.
Some would say very slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's taken a bit. My approach is a bit more systematic now. Before it was kind of thrown to the wind, like it's going to happen regardless. Effective 1 October, I will be a civilian. So we'll just keep working until that day. But a friend that you and I mutually know that connected us has helped me kind of lay out some of the steps that I should be doing, and got us in contact to do this interview, and then working through just developing what my resume to the civilian and corporate world, what that should look like, and develop my transition schematic, if you will.
Yeah, it's difficult. It just takes time.
Yes.
Takes a little time to recover from a twisted ankle.
Yeah.
From regular,
Yes, it does.
Yeah, from
Yeah.
school. So, one more. How do you introduce yourself to a stranger?
Eye contact, hand out, and nice to meet you. So just being, and with a smile, and people can hear the smile through the phone even. So opening up with a smile and eye contact, I think is number one. And that drops any barrier or preconceived notions of just being enjoyable to encounter. And that's my goal.
Wonderful. Very last one. Life lesson. Life lesson from your time in the military.
People first.
Yeah.
It really has been. People matter. Everybody has value. And it's up to us in leadership positions to bring out that value in a person. Everybody has something to contribute. Yes.
Deanna, it's been a wonderful time this afternoon at the Patriot Lunch, this quarter's Patriot Lunch. Very, very pleased to chat with you. I know it's unanimous with our participants, our audience, corporate America. This is recorded, so we'll be able to get it out. And I just really, really, really appreciate your time and this opportunity to dialogue. Deanna, you've freely chosen to dedicate your life from 17 years old to now. Thank you for service. Thank you for your service and courage and fortitude over the last nearly 3 decades serving our country. We all are grateful. Bancroft Capital is grateful for you coming on for our Patriot Lunch this quarter. For our audience, you'll get a connective email. Feel free to connect and chat, build a network, just explain and learn about her, explain your role, company to her so she can better understand corporate America, and vice versa. She can explain how she's gotten to this point. Stay tuned, everybody, for the next Patriot Lunch, currently scheduled for February 8th, Thursday, February 8th. Feel free to forward that invite out and register, get it to your company, your network, your veterans, ERGs. Share the good news of these veterans that are entering our workforce. Last notes from you, Deanna.
Thank you so much to Bancroft and to you for this opportunity. And I really appreciate everyone taking time out today to listen to my story and see what this is all about. Hopefully I'll be getting in touch with many of you in the future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Deanna. Thank you to the audience. We'll see you in a quarter. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.